So, what exactly was David Fincher thinking?
Again, it was this idea of this ongoing correspondence with somebody who is in process. This is the one that got away, and this is the one that didn't deserve to get away.
Here's a film that doesn't build to a cathartic climax, it doesn't end with justice, and it never gives you the comfort of certainty.
Is it me? Or does that look like a gun sight?
But everything it isn't is exactly what makes it so memorable.
Don't move!
Fincher wasn't interested in solving the Zodiac case. He was interested in what the lack of a solution does to people, to the cops, to the journalists, to the cartoonist who just wanted to help.
I'm writing a book about the Zodiac.
It wasn't that they wanted to rewrite history, it's like they just wanted one more shot at being able to go over this stuff. They wanted just a little bit more time, a little more funding, a little more support, this kind of palpable sense of wanting to have seen this be tied up.
Everyone thinks they can handle a mystery until it refuses to end.
That he was your favorite suspect, that you spent 2 years on him, and that nobody ever came close.
Most thrillers operate like puzzles. You collect clues, piece them together, and walk away feeling like something's been put back into place. Zodiac does the opposite.
You're not gonna believe this.
It's about watching people slowly come apart. The tension comes from realizing that nothing will happen next.
Not a peep in 4 months.
It'll just be another dead lead, another face that almost matches, another maybe. Where other films build to a reveal, Zodiac builds to a void.
And when is it going to be finished? When you catch him? When you arrest him?
And that void becomes the antagonist. You fear the Zodiac because of what he does, sure, but you also fear him because of what he doesn't do. He doesn't get caught. He doesn't even stay visible. He becomes almost a myth.
It's unsigned except for a symbol.
And Fincher is smart enough to keep him that way. The passage of time in this movie is formed like a weapon.
Zodiac's long gone.
The further we move from the crimes, the more blurred everything becomes. Facts decay, memories get fuzzy, people lose interest.
He offed a few citizens, he wrote a few letters, and he faded into footnote.
But Graysmith can't let it go.
I need to know who he is.
It's not some big breakdown, it's gradual. What's really sharp about Gyllenhaal's performance is just how much he holds back. He plays Graysmith like a guy who still thinks he's the one holding the leash.
Zodiac was military, so I went to every base library.
Even as his family drifts away, and as he's cutting out letters in his kitchen at night, he still talks like he's in control.
It talks all about you researching Zodiac.
Well, that's what the article's about.
I'm not so sure that's something we want people to know about.
But you can see the denial building. The posture starts to shrink, the eyes lose focus. He starts to disintegrate.
Why do you need to do this?
Because nobody else will.
And that subtlety is what sells the obsession. The camera work mirrors that exact feeling.
How many suspects were cleared through handwriting?
All of them.
Fincher doesn't shoot Zodiac like a horror film, but it's one of the most disturbing movies of the last 20 years. Every frame is too clean, too balanced. There's no handheld chaos, no shaky tension. It's all locked in, and that precision becomes suffocating.
I can tell you who the Zodiac is.
Fincher makes you sit in the silence, in the boredom, in the grind of waiting for something to matter. And that's the brilliance. Zodiac makes you feel what the characters feel. Not just the fear or curiosity, but the exhaustion. The dull ache of hitting walls for years.
Is it true?
Yes.
The resentment towards people who moved on. The paranoia that maybe the truth was there and you just missed it.
I spoke to him,
You mean to Mr. Belli about the case?
to the Zodiac, when he called.
This film does really well to replicate obsession, and by the time you're deep into the third act, you're not watching it passively, you're caught in it too.
Here to help, Jim.
The basement scene is the best example of how Fincher plays with expectations. Graysmith is following what should be a lead. He's in a stranger's house. The lights are dim. There's evidence that this man could be involved.
Do you remember the Zodiac?
This is about Rick Marshall, isn't it?
And the way Fincher draws it out, you expect something huge, some reveal or confession.
You live alone?
Most dangerous game.
But it never comes, just a weird vibe and a lingering suspicion.
Are you sure there's nobody else in the house?
And yet, it's one of the most terrifying scenes in the film, because the tension doesn't pay off with answers, it pays off with nothing, which to people aching for answers is so much worse.
Good night, Mr. Graysmith.
And one of the boldest moves within the writing is just how it treats emotional arcs. There's no redemption stories, no cathartic come-to-Jesus moments, no tragic heroics. It's just people slowly giving up.
All the evidence said no.
Avery drinks himself into irrelevance.
Paul, if you want to work here, I need 3 things. 1, stop boozing.
Graysmith becomes unrecognizable.
You didn't return my calls.
I've been kind of busy. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Did it ever?
These aren't character arcs in the traditional sense, they're exits, slow motion implosions, but oddly enough, the film never feels hopeless, just honest. That's what makes it so different from the typical true crime story. It doesn't glorify the process, it doesn't reward the effort, it just tells the truth, that sometimes, despite your best instincts, your clearest logic, and your years of dedication, you still walk away with nothing.
Get creative.
And if you're not careful, you leave pieces of yourself behind in the process. Look at the diner scene between Graysmith and Toschi near the end of the film. Graysmith lays out this theory like he's solved it, like this is the big moment, and Toschi just stares at him blank, exhausted. There's no you did it moment, no validation, just a man who's been broken by the process listening to another man who's almost there.
I can't prove this. Just because you can't prove it doesn't mean it's not true.
The case has aged them both, just in different ways. One gave up and the other can't. So in the end, neither of them won.
And when is it going to be finished? When you catch him? When you arrest him?
Even the editing choices echo the same obsession. Crosscuts between unrelated scenes that only make sense if you're tracking details like Graysmith does. The rhythm of the film starts tight and gets slower. Tension lingers longer. Cuts stretch out. The movie literally feels heavier the deeper you go. It's editing designed to wear you down, just like the characters.
You know that we work in the daily business, right? As in today.
And let's not forget the victims. Fincher never sensationalizes the killings. They're not stylized. They're awkward, brutal, messy. They're what real violence looks like. Quick, jarring, and full of silence. The film isn't interested in turning Zodiac into an icon. It doesn't care about making him cool. It's about the damage he leaves behind, the people who got hurt.
Told the cops about that so long ago.
Last time I saw his face was July 4th. 1969.
And the people who kept chasing him instead of healing. There's also something genius about how the film uses typography and handwriting. The Zodiac letters are used as visual weapons.
What does he mean it gets worse?
Read the last part.
You see the handwriting on screen, scrawled across white space, and it starts to feel like the killer is controlling the edit. His presence is in the fonts, in the layouts. It turns the screen into a crime scene. By this point, you've been trained to grab onto anything.
We'll be in touch.
The movie teaches you to search for confirmation even when it's not there. It makes you feel almost as desperate as Graysmith did at the time.
I can't discuss the case with you, and I certainly couldn't tell you to go see Ken Narlow in Napa.
And then we take a look at how Fincher treats memory.
What are your feelings about Don Chaney?
Don Chaney, my old roommate?
Witnesses contradict each other, details change. The car was brown, no, it was blue. He had a mustache, no, he didn't. These aren't mistakes, they're thematic. They show you how fragile the truth really is, how unstable human perception becomes over time.
About a year ago, there was a story about the Zodiac, and it all comes back.
You start to question everything, even the moments you thought were definitive. That's where Fincher tightens the grip. He shows you that nothing was really ever certain. The final scene at the hardware store is genius because of what it doesn't say. Graysmith walks in, sees Leigh Allen, and for a moment, time slows. There's no dialogue between them, just a stare. A quiet, devastating confirmation that means everything and nothing. Allen never confesses. He doesn't run, he doesn't even blink.
Well, I guess I was there around that time. I used to go down there a lot.
But the silence says it all, and yet it's not closure. It's just the best Graysmith is ever going to get, and that's what he's chasing. Not justice, just enough to sleep at night.
Because there was no evidence, Robert. What do you mean there's no evidence?
You can't talk about Zodiac without talking about its restraint. Fincher could have gone big. He could have thrown in a fictional resolution or dramatized the killings, but he didn't. He had the discipline to hold back, and in doing so, made one of the most emotionally violent films in modern history.
You sound like you're in a great deal of pain.
The impact comes just as much from action as it does attrition, from endurance. It's psychological sandpaper.
He said he had to kill because it was his birthday.
Zodiac isn't about catching the killer. It's about what chasing one costs you. It's about how the human need for closure can override everything. Your job, your marriage, your sanity.
Can't have him see me like this.
Neither can I.
And it leaves you with this uncomfortable question. What if closure isn't real? What if we chase it just to avoid the silence? It's rare for a movie to withhold this much and still feel so full. But Zodiac doesn't need spectacle to feel heavy. It doesn't need violence to scare you. The horror is existential. It's waking up and realizing you've wasted 10 years on a maybe. It's realizing the story doesn't end, it just stops. Because the scariest part of Zodiac isn't that the killer was never caught. It's that the people chasing him couldn't stop, even when they knew he wouldn't be.